We went over before how when you select save a selection, it creates a channel in here. Channels also, you have your colors, your color channels that actually make up your image. Sometimes using color range or using some of the other options, you're not quite getting what you need. You're not quite getting the selection you need. And I'm actually going to turn that, I'm going to delete this group here so I can see my channels better. Channels, what channels allow you to do is to isolate certain areas of the image that sometimes you can't with other selection methods. A channel, since it is a black and white image, really, it acts the same as your masks. So if I duplicate a channel by just clicking and dragging it over the new channel icon, it'll duplicate that channel. Now I can play around with the channel. Maybe I can use curves on it, increase the contrast in certain areas. You can use the dodge and burn tools to maybe I want both these triangles to be selected, so I can use the dodge tool here to lighten this area. And then I can switch to the burn tool and maybe darken around the edges, just to create that contrast that I need for my selection. And if you're having trouble with the dodge and burn tool, you can just grab the paintbrush and then paint on it. Right now I'm just kind of doing it rough just for an example here. And then what I can do is I can grab the lasso tool. In this particular case, you know, I didn't really, I probably could have got the same result using the select color range, but I'm just using this as an example of other ways to make selections. I'm going to invert my selection. I'm going to fill it with black. So now we have a pretty isolated mask here. And just like, actually it's a channel right now, but to make it a mask, all I have to do is just control click on the channel, just like I would a mask, to load the selection. And then I go to my layer. I'll duplicate the background layer there, and we'll just add that mask. So we add that mask to it. You can, if you wanted just a really interesting selection, you could just load a channel by just control clicking on any channel, like the red channel, for instance, and we'll do curves. I just created a curves adjustment layer. Basically, adjustment layer is an adjustment. That's a layer, and all adjustment layers include a mask. By default, they're white unless you have something selected, and then it makes that the mask. So in this case, I'm just going to brighten it. We'll add cyan, green, and blue. Now if I look at my mask here, we can see the mask is identical to the red channel. So if you click on it, it's an exact of the red channel there. So sometimes using the channels can get you like halfway there, get you some interesting masks, and it's more of a subtle mask where you have just variant degrees of what's selected and what's not. So it's not a real harsh mask. It's just a real subtle mask. Often in images you have to select, or you'll need to select maybe just like the highlights of an image. So or the lighter areas of the image. So if you hit select Control Alt and then the tilde key, which is on the upper left hand side of the keyboard under the Escape key, if you click that, it creates a mask that basically selects the highlights of the image. And I find this to be very useful because a lot of times you need to either adjust the highlights of the image, or you need to adjust the shadows of the image. And basically, if Control Alt tilde selects the highlights and you need to select the shadows of the image, then you just invert that selection, and then you'll have the shadow selected. So maybe I want to brighten the highlights a little bit, give them a little bit more contrast. Hit OK. And if I just click on that, I again have the highlight selected, and I can Control Shift I to invert the selection. And then I'll just make another curve adjustment layer, and we'll darken it. But right now it's only affecting the shadows. So if I alt click on the mask, you can see that they're the inverses of each other. This one here selects the highlights, the next one masks out all the shadows. Does anybody have any questions? It's been very quiet.
Excuse me. When you had the pixel mask and the vector mask in one layer, what determines like the pecking order? Is the one that
there's no
farthest to the right,
no. It's not a pecking order. It's a combination of the masks. It's basically intersecting the masks. So whatever intersects the mask is visible.
Okay.
So, anything else? Any other questions?
Powerful stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with masks, and it gets more involved than this, especially when you're dealing with channels. You can get more in depth into it, but that will take like another hour, so we'll have to save that for another time. Okay.